The envelope lay on the kitchen table like a ticking bomb, its contents spilling out in a mess of bank statements and scribbled notes. Avon, 25 and freshly graduated from college, stared at the numbers that didn't add up, his heart pounding as he realized his adoptive father, Robert, had been drained dry for years by the very family who claimed to love him. In that moment, the quiet suburban home in Seattle felt like a prison, and Avon knew he couldn't stay silent any longer. Robert had adopted Avon when he was 12, pulling him from a foster system that had chewed him up and spit him out. A single dad, Robert worked 2 jobs as a mechanic to provide, his rough hands always stained with grease, but his heart full of unwavering support. Avon remembered the day Robert sat him down and said, "You're my son now, no matter what." That promise had carried Avon through high school bullying, through coming out as gay at 17, and through the awkward family gatherings where Uncle Harold and Aunt Linda always seemed to hover like vultures. But now, piecing together the puzzle, Avon saw the truth. Harold and Linda, Robert's brother and sister-in-law, had been borrowing money under the guise of emergencies loans for a failing business, medical bills that never existed, even a supposed home repair fund. Robert, ever the peacemaker, had given without question, dipping into his savings, his retirement, even taking out loans in his name. The total? Over $200,000, siphoned away over a decade. Avon's hands trembled as he clutched the papers. How could family do this? And why hadn't Robert fought back? That evening, Avon confronted Robert in the living room, the TV murmuring in the background. "Dad, what's this?" he asked, holding up a statement showing a wire transfer to Harold's account. Robert's face paled, his eyes avoiding Avon's. "It's nothing, son. Just helping out family." But Avon pressed on, his voice rising with frustration. "Helping? They've been bleeding you dry. Look at this, you've got nothing left for yourself." Robert sighed, sinking into his armchair. "Harold's my brother. Blood is blood." Avon paced the room, his mind racing. He thought of his own struggles, the rejection from extended family when he came out, the whispers at Thanksgiving dinners about how Robert had ruined his life by adopting a troubled kid. Harold and Linda had been the loudest, masking their disdain with fake smiles while pocketing Robert's money. It fueled a fire in Avon, a determination to protect the man who had given him everything. The next day, Avon met his boyfriend, Jamie, at their favorite coffee shop in downtown Seattle. Jamie, a law student with sharp eyes and a kind heart, listened as Avon poured out the story. They had met 2 years ago at a campus LGBTQ support group, bonding over shared experiences of feeling like outsiders. Jamie's family was supportive, a stark contrast to Avon's fractured one. "This is financial abuse, Avon," Jamie said, his hand covering Avon's. "We need to do something." Avon nodded, feeling a mix of fear and resolve. For the first time, he saw a path forward, but it meant tearing open old wounds. As weeks passed, Avon dove into research, spending nights poring over legal websites and forums. He discovered patterns of elder financial abuse, how relatives often exploited trust. It hit close to home. Robert was only 58, but the stress had aged him. Avon started documenting everything, creating a timeline of transactions. Jamie helped, using his legal knowledge to suggest consulting an attorney. But doubt crept in. Was he overstepping? Robert had begged him to drop it, saying, "Family forgives, Avon. That's what we do." One afternoon, Avon visited Harold and Linda's house in the suburbs, a sprawling place that screamed excess: new cars in the driveway, a pool in the back. He confronted them politely at first. "Uncle Harold, Aunt Linda, I know about the money. Dad can't keep giving like this." Harold's face reddened. "What are you talking about, boy? That's between me and your dad." Linda chimed in, her voice dripping with condescension. "And who are you to interfere? You're not even real family." The words stung, echoing the prejudices Avon had faced his whole life. Driving home, tears blurred Avon's vision. Not real family. It was a dagger to his heart, reminding him of his adoption papers, the biological ties he lacked. But Robert had chosen him, loved him unconditionally. That night, in Jamie's arms, Avon whispered his fears. "What if they turn everyone against us?" Jamie held him tighter. Then we fight together. You're not alone. The conflict escalated when Harold called Robert, raging about Avon's accusations. Robert, caught in the middle, pleaded with Avon to apologize. "They're all I have left of my parents," he said. Avon refused, his voice firm. "Dad, they're using you. I won't let that happen." It was the first crack in their father-son bond, a painful choice that left Avon sleepless. Society's pressures weighed heavy. In their conservative extended family, Avon's sexuality was a taboo topic, often linked to his troubled past. Harold had once joked at a reunion, "Robert's charity case turned out fruity." Now, with money on the line, those biases surfaced openly. Cousins whispered. Aunts sent pointed texts. Avon felt the isolation, but Jamie's support grounded him. Their relationship, built on mutual respect, became his anchor. As Avon gathered more evidence, he uncovered forged signatures on loan documents. It was fraud, plain and simple. He confided in a family friend, a retired accountant, who confirmed his suspicions. "This could be criminal," the friend said. Avon's heart raced. Pursuing this meant potential lawsuits, family rifts that might never heal. But seeing Robert's weary eyes, the way he skipped meals to save money, Avon knew he had to act. The decision crystallized during a quiet dinner with Jamie. "If I do nothing, I'm complicit," Avon said. Jamie nodded. "And if you fight, you're honoring the family Robert built with you." It was a turning point, a choice between blood loyalty and moral justice. The lawyer's office in Seattle's bustling downtown was a stark contrast to the chaos brewing in Avon's life. Mr. Ellis, a stern man with glasses perched on his nose, reviewed the documents Avon had compiled. "This is textbook financial exploitation," he said, his tone matter-of-fact. "We can file for restitution, maybe even press charges." Avon swallowed hard, glancing at Jamie, who squeezed his hand under the table. The path ahead was clear, but terrifying. Robert's reaction was predictable heartache mixed with anger. "You're tearing the family apart, son," he said that night, his voice breaking. Avon knelt before him. "Dad, I'm protecting you. Us." But Robert shook his head. "I chose to help them. It's my money." The argument lingered, creating a chasm between them. Avon moved out temporarily to Jamie's apartment, needing space to breathe. Jamie's place became a sanctuary, their relationship deepening amid the turmoil. Late nights, they talked about dreams: Avon's aspiration to become a social worker, Jamie's goal to advocate for LGBTQ rights. "This fight is bigger than us," Jamie said one evening, as rain pattered against the window. "It's about standing up against abuse, no matter who perpetrates it." Avon leaned into him, finding solace in their shared strength. Word spread through the family like wildfire. Calls poured in, accusing Avon of greed, of using his lifestyle as an excuse to divide them. Aunt Linda posted subtly on social media, hinting at ungrateful outsiders. It stung, amplifying Avon's insecurities about his adoption and sexuality. At a family gathering he wasn't invited to, cousins debated his motives, some defending him quietly, others echoing Harold's narrative. Avon faced his first major setback when Robert refused to cooperate with the lawyer. "I won't testify against my brother," he declared. Frustrated, Avon argued, "Dad, they've manipulated you for years." But Robert's loyalty ran deep, rooted in a childhood where Harold protected him from their abusive father. It was a cycle of dysfunction, one Avon vowed to break. Seeking support, Avon joined an online forum for adult children of financial abuse victims. Stories mirrored his own, offering validation. One user advised, "Sometimes, you have to choose justice over peace." It resonated, but the emotional toll mounted. Nightmares plagued him, dreams of abandonment. Jamie's family provided a lifeline. At a dinner with them, his parents hugged Avon, saying, "You're family now." It contrasted sharply with his own kin, highlighting societal divides, how acceptance varied by background. Jamie's mom, a therapist, helped Avon process his feelings. "Your anger is valid," she said, "but channel it wisely." Emboldened, Avon confronted Harold again, this time with evidence in hand. At a neutral cafe, he laid out the forged documents. Harold blustered. "This is nonsense." Robert agreed to everything, but his eyes betrayed fear. Linda, silent, avoided Avon's gaze. "Repay what you owe, or we'll go to court," Avon warned. Harold laughed it off, but the seed of doubt was planted. The encounter sparked retaliation. Harold spread rumors, claiming Avon was unstable, influenced by his partner. It reached Avon's workplace, a nonprofit for at-risk youth, where colleagues whispered. One day, his boss pulled him aside. "Is everything okay?" Avon nodded, but inside he seethed. This was the ugly side of societal prejudice, weaponizing his identity against him. Through it all, Jamie stood firm. Their dates became escapes hikes in the Pacific Northwest, quiet picnics where they reaffirmed their love. "I choose you every day," Jamie said, kissing Avon's forehead. It was a reminder that family could be chosen, not just inherited. A breakthrough came when Robert found an old letter from his parents, praising Harold's business acumen. It clicked, the manipulation started long ago. Tearfully, he called Avon. "Maybe you're right." It was tentative but progress. Avon rushed over, hugging his dad. "We'll get through this together." As the legal process began, subpoenas were issued. Harold hired a lawyer, turning it into a battle. Family sides formed, some supporting Avon quietly, others ostracizing him. At a mediation session, harsh words flew. "You're not even blood." Linda spat. Avon retorted, "Blood doesn't excuse theft." The room fell silent, the truth hanging heavy. The stress affected Avon's health, anxiety attacks, weight loss. Jamie urged therapy, and Avon started sessions, unpacking layers of trauma from his foster days to current betrayals. "Your choices define you," the therapist said. It empowered him, but doubts lingered. Was the fight worth the pain? Society's lens amplified the drama. Local news picked up the story anonymously, sparking debates on family loyalty versus accountability, especially in LGBTQ contexts where chosen families often supplanted biological ones. Avon read comments, some supportive, others vicious. It fueled his resolve, but also his isolation. In a quiet moment, Avon reflected on his journey. From a scared kid to a fighter, all for love of his dad. Jamie's unwavering support made it possible, their bond a beacon in the storm. The courtroom in Seattle's federal building buzzed with tension as the case unfolded. Avon sat beside Robert, Jamie a row behind for moral support. Harold and Linda, across the aisle, glared daggers. The judge, a no-nonsense woman, reviewed the evidence, forged signatures, unexplained transfers, years of exploitation. Avon's testimony was pivotal, his voice steady despite nerves. "My father trusted them, and they betrayed that trust." Cross-examination was brutal. Harold's lawyer painted Avon as vengeful, hinting at his sexuality as a motive for discord. "Isn't it true you've always felt like an outsider?" the lawyer asked. Avon met his eyes. "Yes, but that doesn't change the facts." Murmurs rippled through the gallery, family members divided. It highlighted societal biases, how personal identities could be twisted in legal battles. Robert's turn on the stand was heart-wrenching. Haltingly, he admitted the loans, the pressure from Harold. "I didn't want to lose my brother," he said, tears flowing. The courtroom fell silent, the emotional weight palpable. Linda sobbed dramatically, but Avon saw through it, manipulation at its finest. Outside court, media swarmed. Reporters asked about the gay sons' crusade, turning a family matter into a spectacle. Avon declined comments, but online forums exploded with opinions. Some praised his courage, others accused him of destroying tradition. It sparked broader discussions on financial abuse in families, especially among marginalized groups. Back home, Robert and Avon's relationship mended slowly. Dinners together, honest talks. "I'm proud of you, son," Robert said one night. Avon smiled, but the scars remained. Jamie helped bridge gaps, organizing game nights to rebuild normalcy. A twist came when a cousin, Sarah, contacted Avon privately. "I've seen how Uncle Harold treats people," she confessed. "He borrowed from me too." Her testimony bolstered the case, revealing a pattern. It was a controversial move, pitting blood against blood, but Sarah chose justice. Family gatherings fractured further, with boycotts and alliances forming. Avon's personal life flourished amid chaos. He and Jamie discussed future marriage, adoption. "We'll build our own family," Jamie said. It was a defiant choice against the rejection Avon faced. Yet doubts nagged. Had he gone too far? The emotional toll on Robert was evident. Worry lines deepened. Therapy sessions delved deeper. "You're grieving the family you thought you had," the therapist noted. Avon nodded, processing layers, adoption insecurities, coming out traumas, now this betrayal. It was a journey of self-discovery, choosing authenticity over facade. Society's reactions varied. LGBTQ groups rallied behind Avon, seeing his story as emblematic of resilience. Conservative relatives decried it as an attack on family values. At a support group meeting, Avon shared his experience, inspiring others. "Standing up isn't easy, but it's necessary," he said. The case dragged on, with settlements proposed. Harold offered partial repayment, but Avon pushed for full accountability. "It's not just money," he told Jamie. "It's about righting wrongs." Jamie agreed, their partnership a source of strength. A heated family confrontation occurred at Robert's birthday party, uninvited guests crashing. Harold accused Avon of brainwashing Robert. "This is because of your lifestyle," he shouted. Avon stood tall. "No, it's because of your greed." Fists nearly flew, but Jamie intervened, de-escalating. It was a raw display of clashing values. In the aftermath, Avon reflected on choices. Protecting Robert meant sacrificing harmony, but was harmony built on lies worth it? Jamie's love affirmed his path, their quiet evenings a reminder of what's real. As verdict day approached, tension peaked. Evidence mounted against Harold, but he countered with emotional pleas. The judge deliberated, leaving everyone on edge. The gavel struck, echoing through the courtroom. "Judgment in favor of the plaintiff," the judge declared. Harold and Linda were ordered to repay $180,000, plus interest, and face probation for fraud. Gasps filled the room. Robert's relief, Harold's fury. Avon exhaled, a weight lifting, but victory felt bittersweet. Outside, hugs from Jamie and supporters. Robert clasped Avon's shoulder. "Thank you, son." It was validation, but the family rift widened. Harold disowned Robert. Linda spread venom online. Cousins chose sides, some cutting ties with Avon. The win sparked public discourse. News outlets covered the adopted son's triumph, debating ethics of intrafamily lawsuits. Avon received messages, some applauding his bravery, others condemning him for airing dirty laundry. It raised questions on societal norms. When does loyalty end and accountability begin? Personally, Avon struggled with aftermath. Nightmares of court relented, but guilt lingered. Had he pushed Robert too far? Therapy helped, emphasizing boundaries. "You chose protection over enabling," the therapist said. Jamie's proposal came unexpectedly, on a Seattle ferry ride. Kneeling, ring in hand, he asked, "Will you marry me?" Tears flowed as Avon said yes. It was a beacon of hope, their love defying odds. Planning the wedding amidst chaos was therapeutic, focusing on future. Robert walked Avon down the aisle in a small ceremony, Jamie's family filling gaps. Absent relatives stung, but chosen family shone. Vows exchanged, promising support through trials. It was a statement against prejudice, embracing identity fully. Financially, repayments trickled in, easing Robert's burdens. He started therapy too, unpacking sibling dynamics. "I see now how blind I was," he admitted. Father-son bonds strengthened, built on truth. Society's backlash intensified. Harold filed appeals, dragging the saga. Online trolls targeted Avon's sexuality, calling him vindictive. Support groups countered, sharing similar stories. It highlighted systemic issues, financial abuse often unchecked in families, especially with marginalized members. Avon volunteered at a nonprofit, advocating for abuse victims. Speaking engagements shared his journey, inspiring change. Choices define us, he told audiences. Jamie, now a lawyer, assisted pro bono cases. A controversial twist. Harold's health declined, stress-induced. Linda begged Robert for help. Avon advised caution. Don't fall back into the trap. Robert agreed, offering emotional support but no money. It was a test of growth. Emotional highs and lows continued. Avon and Jamie's honeymoon in Hawaii provided respite, reaffirming commitment. Back home, they discussed adoption, wanting to give a child what Robert gave Avon. The story circled back to core conflicts, societal expectations of family, the courage to challenge abuse. Avon pondered if his actions sparked necessary debates. With the appeals exhausted, the case closed definitively. Harold and Linda moved away, contact severed. Robert rebuilt his life, retiring comfortably with recovered funds. Avon and Jamie settled into married life, their home a haven of acceptance. Reflecting, Avon wrote a journal entry. Fighting back meant losing parts of family, but gaining integrity. It was a hard-won lesson, emotions raw but resolved. Years later, at a family reunion of chosen kin, stories shared, laughter mingled with tears. Robert toasted, "To real family." Avon smiled, Jamie's hand in his. The journey taught resilience, the power of choice in facing adversity. Societal shifts occurred, with more awareness on financial abuse. But one question lingered, sparking endless debate. Was exposing family secrets worth the permanent rifts it caused? True or false?